Okay, so I call this a continuation today. It's 6:34 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's still July 23rd, 2023. It's still Sunday, and we're still melting a little bit. The wee regency of Melty Roseman, California, the armpit of the Antelope Valley, California. Anyway, I still need my right guard. Old Spice Works, roll-ons. Oh yeah, especially when I need a shower that bad. Okay, I was talking about religion and how the church is interpreted these days. We have the faith, different faiths, and different ways of looking at God. I mean, somewhere in the Old Testament, there had to have been a run into that situation where I guess it was getting too crazy, too cluttered, something about it. I really got to get into the story on this one here. That God decided to split things up a bit, see if people can get together one way or another. There has got to be something in one of the chapters in the Old Testament. I got to read and reread just to see what the hell I'm talking about in this situation. Because they called it about the Tower of Babel, a big, huge edifice, touched touched the sky, touched God, and they seem to be having an issue out of that one. But we had to be split into different groupings. We called ourselves different names for the groupings. Right after Christ, it was Christians. Before that, well, you were still part of the Jewish, or you're still part of Islam. You're still part of any other kind of grouping that you had during that time. They still believed in God. Well, that's the thing. But I suppose the question to be got at this point over here is asking, what is the church? We got organizations going back centuries on this one. Laws and rules and regulations and how things are supposed to be, and sometimes they're conflicting with some of the lessons we've learned. People have considered organized religions, the type of religions, to be the way of reaching God one way or another. It drives me crazy on that one that we are not doing what we should be doing. If Christ was walking among us and he still wanted to find followers, even if the ones who are of different religions and different faiths, I think I would ask him on that one. I think I would ask him on this one. Christ, did you want everybody to be turned into Christians automatically at this point over here? Or was it just people of faith in general who believed in God and believed in you and believed in the prophets that we have out there trying to get God's word to us? Was this the way that you wanted it, or did you want it subdivided and organized that way? It's like we have the role of Caesar getting into the role of God at this point over here, trying to tell you how to worship him one way or another. And how it becomes so organized, how it becomes so stressful. People want Christianity. Okay, fine, you want Christianity. What does it mean to you? Read the Bible. No, 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 no. What does it mean to you in here and in here? It's not just memorizing the lines left and right, the parables, the testaments out there, the stories. It's not memorizing a damn book and understanding every damn nuance on the thing. What does it mean to you? And that question should have been directed at me a long time ago on that one. What do I understand what Christianity means? And going through life, sometimes we don't even understand the answer, do we? Until it just jumps up and nearly at the end. Or maybe somehow we already had an instinct what the hell it is. Sometimes too afraid and sometimes overbearing about it. People are so excited and they wanted to share the message back in their ancient Roman times that with one particular Caesar who managed to overlook it and got himself converted, and he didn't mind Christianity. But prior to that, and right after Christ's birth, the followers of Christ were open season. The Roman Empire had an issue. You didn't cross Caesar's path. Otherwise, you're going to be fed to starving lions. For some of them who wanted to listen, fine. There was in the New Testament a gentleman named Saul who was a prosecutor of sorts. Somehow he had a burr up his ass regarding Christ. He was hired. He was paid for. He was looking. He had his own followers with him. He was going after Christians left and right. He was out to destroy the word as well as the people left and right. He had a burr up his ass regarding Christ. He was a devout. He was devout in Judaism, the Jewish faith. Got to a point, well, after Christ had already passed away and followers were hiding left and right, but still spreading out the word, that Saul is separated, probably deliberately, probably on his own choice, and gets blinded by the light. Some people could probably look at that scientific explanation. Or maybe it was something that hit him one way or another that turned him blind for a time. And in this situation, and it was being written, I think it was Ecclesiastes. I'm going to have to check that where the location was, but I know it was in a New Generation on this one. So, as far as I understand about the story goes, I think the Spirit of Christ was being revealed to him. He's asking him, "What? Why are you doing this? Why are you persecuting me? What have I done to you?" Something about it that really ticked Saul off to where he was angry at God, angry at Jesus, and for one reason or another. I don't know why. Because I really got to read the book to get the text on that one. But as I understand it, something happened. Christ gave him a new job. And he's telling him, no. You're going to be working with me. It's not doing the damage control. My message was pure and clean and simple. We were trying to spread hope and faith. We were trying to spread something positive in this land that's still crying out for it. That's why I had the 12 out there. Because they needed to spread the word out there. They needed to share the word with everybody. Because we needed to tell these people and turn them back to God and tell them, look, God knows what you're going through right now. And he's looking for a church for his people to worship God in. Not a physical one, but groupings of people. Groupings of people. And not labeling themselves, but just following what God means. And For those that kept trying to seek out God. He understands there's times of stress, of struggle, and of change, and things happening left and right are turning people into nut jobs. I've listened to a lot of stories throughout my lifetime from different pastors, different viewpoints, trying to understand, trying to also trying to figure me out at the same time. Growing up as a kid, I was scared. I had touched a open heart operation 3 times up and 3 times back. Yeah, it does something to a person. It makes him screwed up inside. 4-year-old kid is not supposed to go through that shit. Either he lives or he dies. Once was enough, but 3 times? Come on. God had something out here for me to do in the first place, or else he really wanted Mom and my brother to have a baby brother with him all the time. I mean, I could accept that one. So maybe we're going for the deeper philosophical thing. I don't get it. Oh, man, I got this thing popping over here. Give me one quick second. I'm just going to click this damn thing up because I don't want to deal with it anymore. Okay, here we go. I didn't understand God. I mean, I tried to pray to him when I was a young kid. I was told and taught to pray. But the problem is I don't know how. I mean, they would teach me the rituals. Okay, fine. I still didn't understand. I was still scared and I was still afraid. There have been a few times in my life after the surgery that I actually had tried to open up as a young kid and just said, "Are you there? I need help. I'm praying about my aunt here. She's having heart attacks right now, and I'm worried about her, and I don't want her to die, please." And I guess at one time when I was at a church across the street from my house, and I was a young kid, and my great aunt was always going to the hospital because of heart problems. She was elderly, she had heart problems, and she was also dying of a broken heart. She lost her husband a long time ago, before she got hooked up with my family. Oh, I've done some stories on this one in the videos, but I was really scared for her and I really cared about her. And I guess at that time, I said, "Well, did you want to accept Christ in your heart?" And I didn't understand that. And I probably said, "Yeah." Because I didn't know who Christ was still. Yeah, I'd gone to the church schools before the sermons and they would talk. But well, like went in one ear out the other ear. When they talking about God the Father and all powerful and almighty, that made me terrified. Because I guess during that time I didn't even know how to touch it. Really touched that experience and really tried to grasp onto it and understand the whole damn thing, and it's just way too much for that kid's brain. But that one time I was praying, I was just trying to keep it simple, and I guess that was the way it was simple for me, that I was assured I should be okay. At least for a time anyway. But it didn't mean I was going to be listening to the voices. I just wanted to get the assurances of my aunt wasn't going to die that time. She did later on. And it did hurt. It did hurt me a great deal. I remember hearing after the news, after my mom told me, I cried in my bed on that one. And I still had to go to school. Hell of a way to celebrate your birthday. A few minutes after midnight, she passes away, and that hurt like hell. But at least she stayed for my 12th birthday. I got up in a few hours after that, get ready for school. And about 4 or 5 months, roughly, I had a dream about my aunt smiling at me in her blue and white house coat. I was crying my ass off all day long at school. because the feelings, the image, it was all powerful. It was simple. It was so simple, my spirit was crying. My body had to follow suit. And the major one that got me, really got me at that point, was I'm at a YMCA camp as a teenager, about 17, 18 years old. One time only camp out. I think 17. No, 17 or 18, somewhere in there. And, oh, let's see. Had to be when Grandma was still alive. Okay. 16, 17, somewhere in that time. Somewhere. 1 week during the summer. And I go to YMCA and get harangued by the boys because I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. What the hell? Where's Star Trek books? My God, it scares the hell out of them. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. And they picked on me. Hid my book. Finally got it back. But the day before we actually left, they were going to be doing a kind of a ceremony. For those volunteer for it, yeah, I did volunteer with the damn thing. I don't know why, but I did. What the hell? Didn't want to be left out. I wanted to be part of something. So we go down this trail. We're blindfolded. We have about 4 or 5 of the adults with us at this point. They're taking us down. We had to follow their exact instructions because we had overhang, we had branches on the ground, we had branches in the middle. I mean, we had an obstacle course we had to maneuver through. And listening to passages of scripture, we stop, we listen, and then we had to do the obstacle course until we got to a clearing down below, and we sat in a circle, still blindfold. More passages were read. And then we had rocks. And we had to place them in front of us. In a circle. Now, for some, they may not have felt anything, or maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. I didn't talk to anybody about it because I was too damn freaked out about it, but I felt it again. I guess it was a spiritual reminder. I still was, I was still being followed. I was still being monitored. I was still being loved, and I'm okay. There are many levels I can try to interpreting it. Sometimes vocalizations does not cover the entire feeling because there's not enough words in a dictionary to cover what is being generated at that point. Limited by second dimensional thinking compared to a ninth dimensional level of thinking. I mean, once you get hooked up in that kind of, it's like, wow. And then throughout the rest of my life, I was still trying to chase it. The memories and everything else regarding it. Still going through a lot of strife and struggle in those days. And then sometimes I had a spiritual epiphany one way or another. Wasn't as dramatic, but I still remember the drama of it all. I guess we human beings are so tuned to drama, it's not even funny. We're into the theater. Get our 15 minutes of fame, or how many it is on the stage, and then after the spotlight's ended, that's it. We're shuffled to the back of the row again. Not to be put back on the stage again, but that's it. We're in the audience now, watching everybody else having it and just existing. Yeah, kind of weird way of talking about things like that. But spirituality has a way of affecting people more in one way, but I don't understand this cultism that they've got, this absolute worship that borderlines, or actually is insane, actually. I mean, I've seen cultists before. What was it, the Heaven Gates one we had in the 90s or almost 2000s, where they swear aliens were going to be taking up their bodies or taking up their souls once they killed themselves, and they did? Mass suicide? I remember that one in California Stories. Going back a little further, shall we talk about David Koresh, the Branch Davidians? Shall we talk about Jim Jones and the People's Church in Guyana, Cape Town? We can talk about people hold other people hostage. Charm, charisma, promises, whatever it is. Sometimes I keep asking myself, was this what God wanted in the first place? I mean, it was trying to go back and study history all over again. Um, Even English history, medieval Dark Ages, how fiefdoms and kingdoms and armies of the Pope would go across and try to combat and convert because we need it for Christ's glory. We need it for God's glory. Did they actually need to do this? Seriously, did they actually need to do this? But we must increase God's church. I think somewhere we really misinterpreted the Bible. I think we had, especially when we were trying to follow the New Generation, New Testament, as well as the Old Testament. They can reword a thing all the time, but still doesn't change. We still need to reinterpret it in our own way of understanding. Did Christ want us to use the sword on people left and right to do his bidding, his will, and convert the people and the masses into what Christ wanted in the first place and what God wanted to do? And that's what we're supposed to be doing at this time of day, in this time, in this century, in this time of now. I mean, if there is a story about doubting Thomas, I know that, where Thomas was actually doubting Christ and also doubting God, doubting faith, a belief beyond faith. I can hear people throw the thing out left and right about God is God and Jesus is needed, and they. I can hear all the damn arguments from people left and right. I've been running into them left and right. But I gotta know inside. And I think God would probably tell me in his unnoble way, John, you know, you're not in trouble. You understand. You're all right. No stress. Everybody else is stressing. Why not me? Because I don't want you to stress. You're all right. Am I? Seems like everyone else is trying to convince me otherwise. Zeros and ones, programming algorithms left and right, people screaming and yelling left and right. They think they know better. They think they trust God. They think they trust this one particular political con artist over here. This group, this cult-like thinking. They're going against people of different faith, of different colors, different against a system of government that was supposed to be working for a long time, and now in trouble because we got these other people that think that the con men were right, and there's all conspiracies left and right, and we're afraid, we're frightened, we're freaked, and now we're going frenzy and frantic. It's a lot of F's. What about faith? Oh yeah, they claim that they got a lot of faith for that one. They got so much faith, it's not even bad. Don't even question that faith. They got faith. They got faith. Okay, they got it. They got something there. I'm supposed to go after it? Or else am I supposed to be going about it where if I'm going to be demonstrating the faith of God, is it going to be done by bluster or is it going to be done by acts, by works, by something? And what would be considered it? And what would be viewed as? I still have to question myself in that way, but if I talk about my own faith and talk about this, and I'm trying to tell people that you guys are wrong and I'm right. No, that's putting the us versus them in a situation at this point. But I question it. Why? Why the subdivisions? What happened to pluralcy? Plurally. I mean, we're supposed to be a pluralistic government and society. We got a lot of things that makes us who and what we are in this country called America. And we don't even know the ideal and idealism of this damn country anymore. Because we're still trying to redefine it. We're having an issue with it in ourselves. So how are we supposed to be dealing with this? Your guess is as good as mine on that one here.